He who is not a slave to desire is free from all chains, visible or invisible. Inspired by Diogenes of Sinope, they told you that to be a man meant bleeding for love, that devotion meant the chase, that your worth would one day be measured by the heart of a woman who finally said, yes. But what if that pursuit wasn't a rite of passage, but a trap? What if everything you believed about love, longing, and masculinity was scripted to break you? You were groomed to believe that a man who sacrifices is noble, that your pain makes you real, that heartbreak refines you. But no one warned you that the script was designed to empty you. They sold you a dream, and you paid for it with your pride, your time, and your soul. Meanwhile, Diogenes of Sinope slept in a barrel, walked barefoot through filth, and lit a lantern during the day, not because he needed light, but because he claimed to search for an honest man. While other philosophers obsessed over stars and virtue, Diogenes mocked illusions and spat on convention, especially the illusion that love would save you. A wise man, he said, should carry happiness inside himself. But you? You gave your happiness away the moment you made it dependent on her approval. Her smile, her attention, her validation became the gatekeeper of your self-worth. And in that surrender, you handed her your identity. You think you're chasing love. But Diogenes would laugh, because you're not running toward affection. You're running away from yourself. He once saw a man blush in front of a beautiful woman and barked, "Don't be ashamed. It's not your fault, but nature's, for making such creatures irresistible to fools. What you call romance, he called weakness. What you believe is strength, he saw as perfume masking desperation." He didn't act to provoke, he acted to expose. He urinated in public. He masturbated in the marketplace. When scolded, he said, "If only rubbing my belly could cure hunger too." Not to offend, but to reveal. Your shame is the leash they put around your manhood. You restrain your instincts not for discipline, but to appear more attractive to the very women you chase. You play the gentleman not from virtue, but from strategy. You wear masks. Diogenes burned them. You build pedestals. He smashed them. You walk into rooms hoping to be noticed. Diogenes walked into rooms looking for fools, and usually found them in men desperate for attention. He once discarded his cup after watching a child drink from cupped hands. That's how deeply he stripped life down. That's how little he needed. You decorate your prison. You chase after silk before mastering steel. Diogenes wasn't against women. He was against illusions. And there is no illusion more corrosive to a man than the belief that a woman's love will make him whole. The man with the least, he said, has the most. And yet, you never feel like enough. You scroll, you swipe, you wait for her message like it's medicine. You live haunted by women who never loved you. Or worse, women who once did until you overgave and lost yourself. You were told to chase to prove you're a man. Diogenes didn't chase. He stood still. And when Alexander the Great asked, "What can I do for you?" he replied, "Move, you're blocking my sunlight." That's power. That's sovereignty. That's the freedom of a man who kneels to no one. You orbit women like dying planets seeking light. You shrink yourself to fit inside someone else's desire and call it love. Diogenes would have called it servitude, not because women enslave you, but because you shackled yourself with a smile and a bouquet. He said, "The most beautiful woman is nothing without character, and character means nothing without truth." And the truth is, most of what you call love is your fear of being alone, dressed up in poetry. You don't give to connect. You give to bargain. You hand her your soul and call it romance, hoping she'll give you a reflection of yourself. That's not generosity. That's negotiation. It's a trade. And when she doesn't return the favor, you're devastated, not because she left, but because the mirror cracked. Diogenes didn't need mirrors. He faced the world with nothing to prove. He mocked illusions until the world had to laugh or rage, because nothing offends like truth spoken without apology. So I ask you now, not as a preacher or judge, but as a man who's also crawled through this. When will you stop chasing what can't complete you? When will you stop mistaking approval for affection and obedience for intimacy? The woman you chase is not your enemy, but your illusion of her is. You say it's loyalty, it's dependency. You call it passion, it's obsession. You say, she's different. Diogenes would spit and say, the gods want nothing, and godlike men want little. So what godlike man loses himself over a missed message? You were not born to beg. You were not made to orbit. You were built to build, to stand. Somewhere, they convinced you your value comes from being chosen, but it doesn't. And now you scroll like a beggar, smile through rejection like a clown, swallow your pride and call it romantic. Diogenes mocked kings, ate scraps, lived in dirt, and still made the most powerful man in the world feel small. Why? Because he couldn't be bought. You, though, you give her everything without her even asking. You change your tone, your clothes, your future to better fit her preferences. You call it romantic. Diogenes would have barked at your performance and named it what it is: submission. The brutal truth? She doesn't respect it, not because she's mean, but because she senses what Diogenes knew. What chases loses value. She may like the attention, but she doesn't love the man who begs for it. And when she leaves, because she will, you'll feel betrayed. But not because she broke you, because you placed your identity in her hands and called it love. Did you love her? Or the version of yourself you became near her? You weren't chasing her. You were chasing the version of you that felt wanted. Diogenes once said, I seek not a male, but a man. A man who stands naked and feels whole. A man who doesn't need a woman to reflect his worth. A man who doesn't beg to be chosen, but chooses. And maybe that's what stings. The realization that she wasn't the dream. Being wanted was. So you look again for another her, another savior in lipstick, another pair of eyes to feel whole again, because no one taught you how to feel like a man without being seen by a woman. You were trained to conquer the world, but not your own mind, to attract women, but never question why. And when you finally ask why, you see the truth. You've been chasing women who didn't love you, who tolerated you, who admired only the version of you that served them. Diogenes thought this was pathetic. He once said, other dogs bite their enemies. I bite my friends to save them. So let me bite you now, not to hurt, but to wake you. Stop chasing what runs. Stop giving your power away. A man who knows his worth doesn't chase. He walks, he builds. And if she wants to walk beside him, fine. If not, he continues. That was Diogenes. That can be you, but only if you kill the fantasy. You tell yourself heartbreak means love, that the ache proves passion, that rejection makes you brave. Diogenes would have laughed at this. He once begged a statue for help, just to prove how stupid it is to beg. You have access to more knowledge than any philosopher in history, yet you still beg. Not for bread, but for attention. You write paragraphs, you rehearse texts, you shrink, bend, censor, hoping she stays, and you don't see it. But you've become exactly what Diogenes hated most, a man enslaved by invisible chains. Your performance is not strength, it's survival, and it's not working. Because if she didn't want you when you were silent, she doesn't deserve you when you sing. You miss her? No. You miss the mirror she gave you. You miss the man you got to pretend to be. If you loved her, you'd love her even if she left. If you loved yourself, you wouldn't need her reflection. She is not your beginning. She is not your end. Your beginning is when you stop running. When you sit in the sun like Diogenes and say, I need nothing, I am enough. Not in arrogance, in truth. Let her walk. Let her choose. Let her love someone else. That's not your death, that's your rebirth. The death of the boy who begged, the rise of the man who knows. Diogenes didn't kneel, He didn't flatter, he didn't chase. Neither should you. Because the moment you stop chasing, you realize you were never chasing her. You were chasing the man you forgot you already were.